The quest for a cozy apartment starts small. Maybe you start by getting a warm, glowy lamp to replace the depressing, overly orange overhead light. Or maybe a faux fur weighted blanket you bought for the aesthetic, but now you feel mentally unstable without it on your lap on even the hottest day. Or a sparkly trinket on your desk that you can disassociate to when you can no longer bear the sight of your laptop screen. And then after you add enough cozy elements to your space, you realize that your apartment isn't just shelter anymore. It's more like a recovery center. Right, Hilo? And it turns out your quest for a cozy apartment isn't just for the aesthetic. Hashtag cozy living isn't just a mindless activity that punctuates your doom scrolling with brief reprieves of pretty. I think there's something deeper going on here. Why does creating coziness in our apartments feel so crucial right now in particular? Well, in this video, I am going to try to answer that question and basically deliver my dissertation on coziness. Why does coziness matter? So of course, the concept of cozy is nothing new. We've always sought out comfort, warmth, and pleasantness since, like, the dawn of humanity. The moment man invented fire was the moment he invented coziness. Only now, instead of fire, the technology that coziness is cozied up to is largely social media. And just like fire, social media is both beautiful and destructive. For now, let's focus on the beauty. Trust me, we'll get to the destruction side in a bit. But the cozy content you see on Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok feels good for the most part. It inspires us and helps us escape and tells us we're normal for wanting that lavender-scented reed diffuser. Like, when I see a reel of Cozy K cuddling up with her chunky blanket to play Tales of the Shire on her Nintendo Switch with a cute little drink and a cute little snack, the tiny serotonin spike in my brain feels good. And even with the delicious daily antidepressant cocktail of Celexa and Wellbutrin I'm on, those tiny feel-good spikes from witnessing someone else's perfectly curated coziness really does something for me. I feel a sense of kinship with my fellow cozy gamer girl. When I see the cozy, vintagey layers of Nina G at home space, it feels like I'm getting a hug through the screen, and I experience something that feels almost like a crush. You know, that little heart skip that makes you feel giddy, but also kind of hurts because you can only admire that beauty from afar. But ultimately, you feel like you're better off having seen it than not. I feel a sense of kinship with someone who has created a space that looks like a personal fantasy of mine. When I see more magic than practicals cozy content, all candlelight, tea pours, cute animals, and cottagecore delights, I feel a soul-deep yearning for that bucolic fantasy, says the perpetual city girl who hasn't even stepped on dirt in probably like 7.5 years. But it's the fantasy she's giving me that's enticing, as well as the catharsis of seeing someone subvert the cozy content space into political rage. I feel a sense of kinship with someone who uses their content to not only look beautiful, but to stand up for what's right. Moral compasses are very cozy. And then in addition to these feelings of somewhat parasocial kinship with cozy content creators, there's also a voyeuristic element going on here. The rise of cozy morning and night routines, for example, points to our desire to see how others do it. When it comes to the intimate act of coziness, we like to sit in the corner and watch. Because who doesn't love watching a beautiful woman sip on a hot cup of tea, get into bed, and squirt skincare all over her face? I mean, I'm making this weird, but I'm being serious. We love to live vicariously through other people's coziness. We feel connected to it. It all comes down to connection, or at least the simulation of connection. The community campfire has gone digital. And when we cozy up to the pixelated embers of this kind of self-expression and storytelling, we feel a sense of connection and belonging that used to take place outside and in person. And yes, this is largely a trauma response. 6 years ago, coziness went from a cute little pursuit to a full-blown mental health imperative. COVID transformed coziness into a vital coping mechanism. Suddenly, the idea of coziness became a means for survival. Maybe not literal life and death, but definitely survival of the soul. When we had no choice but to hunker down and isolate, obviously our apartments were the only environments we had access to. Coziness was forced upon us. Some are born with coziness, some achieve coziness, and some have coziness thrust upon us. And in this case, coziness was thrust upon us hard. Even if you weren't consciously trying to make your apartment cozy at that time, you were probably doing it unconsciously to some degree. At the very least, you were probably trying to make your home in Animal Crossing cozy. 2020 came around and trapped us in our apartments, and the quest for coziness has been a societal trauma response ever since. Even though years later we're totally free to leave our apartments whenever we want, many of us, myself included, are opting to stay in more than ever before. Rently conducted a 2025 survey of 500 renters and found that 87% of renters say they'd rather stay in than go out, and are creating cozy, well-curated spaces that feel like a personal retreat. 87%, you guys. I've always been a homebody who can stay in her apartment without leaving for a freakish amount of time, and I've always thought that I was in the minority. But nowadays, at least, I most definitely am not. And it makes sense. Everything is prohibitively expensive these days, making even small outings, like going out for coffee, a luxury. And you're lucky if you live in a place that has cool local coffee shops that weren't destroyed in the wake of 2020. For many, the big-ass corporation coffee is your only option if you are so inclined to splurge, but their over-roasted beans won't be the only bitter taste in your mouth when you hear how they treat their employees. Being a consumer is not only extra expensive right now, it's morally challenging. So yeah, I think I'd rather stay in. And apparently that goes for 87% of us. And on top of preferring to stay in a different study on homeowner trends, Zillow found that listings mentioning the word cozy increased by 35% compared to 2023. So, according to the numbers, most of us are homebodies, and our interest in coziness is increasing. Coziness has always been desirable, but now it feels mandatory for the sake of our sanity. In the face of trauma, we go inward. We burrow, we nest, we process disaster from the comfort of our cozy candlelit homes and fall asleep to the dulcet tones of a brutal true crime documentary. Yes, true crime is definitely a common cozy pastime because somehow allowing atrocities to tuck us in at night makes us feel more prepared, maybe? It's hypervigilance that you can summon with the play button. And I feel like this cozy recon mission is just a displaced survival mechanism to protect ourselves from predators. Then we process this sense of safety as coziness. And we drift off to sleep with the satisfaction of having done our due diligence. The human brain hasn't caught up with technology and the comforts of modern living. As far as our brains are concerned, we're still living outside, and a possible bear attack is around the corner at all times. This Psychology Today article gets it. Quote, although most of us today inhabit a world where there are few immediate threats to life, our modern brains retain this primitive threat detection system, which is constantly scanning the world for danger and problems that require our attention, end quote. And in our modern context, from the comfort of our apartments through the screen of our televisions, we get to feel a kind of simulated threat detection system that weirdly comforts us. At least that's my theory on why true crime documentaries have become such a popular, cozy pastime. It surely can't be that we're all just a bunch of fucked up weirdos who enjoy spiraling into the darkest depths humanity has to offer. And often, dark subject matter is wrapped up in a cute, cozy package as an artistic style. And that is comforting for us too. Like in Animal Crossing, for example. You were so blissfully preoccupied with decorating your adorable little home and making adorable little friends that it was easy to forget about the crippling debt that Tom Nook basically tricked you into owing him the second you pressed play. You can't trust anyone. Even the cutest, coziest of things have their darkness. Another example. Only Murders in the Building. Very dark subject matter. Tragic loss of life. But doesn't it make you feel warm and fuzzy inside? The witty banter, the moody theme song that sounds like how a crisp autumn day feels, the beautiful interiors, Selena's outfits. This is a wholesome show you can cozy up to with a warm beverage and a fuzzy blanket, yet it's undeniably dark. Somehow the murder mystery genre as a whole is a cozy staple, from Agatha Christie to Knives Out. And I think it's because having a sense of humor about death, almost gamifying death through the game of figuring out who done it, helps us get through the giant existential crisis of being a human every day. Decorating helps too. Creating a cozy home for ourselves is a way to feel alive, to feel safe, a way to anchor ourselves in the eye of the storm of all of the tragedy that's happening around us. The interiors in Only Murders in the Building, for example, do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of making the show feel cozy. I mean, the writing and acting does most of the heavy lifting as far as that goes, but the interiors create the perfect container for the cozy tone of the show. And it really goes to show how much power interior design has over our emotions. The sets on Only Murders in the Building emotionally manipulate us into a sense of safety, even though we know there's a murder on the loose. And making your apartment feel cozy can help emotionally manipulate you into a sense of safety, even though we're surrounded by atrocities. Honestly, if I can use home decor to trick myself into feeling okay on a daily basis, I'll take it. My pretty studio apartment emotionally manipulates me every day, thank God. And there's just something about seeing Selena Gomez's character Mabel move into an empty studio of her own in season 4, then seeing how she decorates it in season 5. It just feels good. Only Murders in the Building is a feel-good show, but the subject matter should make us feel bad, but it doesn't. Coziness is a potent coping mechanism. It always has been. But in 2020, it became an urgent survival imperative. And its imperativeness has only increased since then, by 35% to be exact. And like on the show, Only Murders in the Building, all of our trauma could only happen in the building. Isolated in our apartments, solving the mysteries of fear and boredom and existential dread, and slowly working our way towards repaying our debt to Tom Nook, the son of a bitch. Now, of course, the quest for coziness isn't as dark as I've painted it so far. It's actually quite light and positive. I probably should have led with that. I just can't help it if I enjoy exploring the dark corners of otherwise happy topics. But overall, the desire to create a warm, inviting space in our apartments very much comes from a pure place of empowerment, inspiration, and creativity. When I was painting the walls and ceiling in my studio apartment a dark color, I was feeling powerful. I was expressing myself, making the space mine, conquering it. Taking that kind of ownership over a rental feels almost defiant, like a refusal to allow my inability to buy a house to disqualify me from owning something. Creating a beautiful, cozy space felt like taking control. And in a world that seems to be spinning out of control, creative self-expression and taking ownership over our very limited living space is a way to carve out our own controlled, peaceful, and beautiful slice of fantasy. You know, to blue pill ourselves into our own perfect self-created matrix where all the horrors of the real world don't exist. Coziness means taking the reins of our own happiness and refusing to let our lives descend into total darkness, even if we paint our walls that way. This is where the Danish concept of hygge comes into the cozy conversation, because after years of consistently ranking among the top happiest countries in the world, it seems like the Danes have cracked the happiness code. And sure, it probably has something to do with accessible healthcare and education and the country's emphasis on social equity, but you know what? I'm an American, and that means I have to pull myself up on my cozy bootstraps and just figure it out. So, hygge it is. And you know, hygge is often used as a kind of synonym for coziness, which isn't incorrect, but there's more to it than that. The way it's explained on denmark.dk, so straight from the hygge horse's mouth, is, quote, hygge is about taking time away from the daily rush to be together with people you care about, or even by yourself, to relax and enjoy life's quieter pleasures. The word hygge dates back to around 1800, at least in the meaning it has today. However, various definitions of hygge can be traced back to the Middle Ages, where a similar Old Norse word meant protected from the outside world, end quote. So hygge is all about protection, quality time, and simple pleasures. And these are the things that create the coziness of hygge. And in a current society that's plunging into chaos, hygge, coming from a relatively peaceful and just society, is something we can turn to as a way to take some control over our happiness. We can turn our apartments into little hygge retreats where we delight in simple pleasures like the glow of a scented candle, the comfort of a chunky blanket, the deliciousness of a meal, the warmth of a glass of brandy before bed. Yes, I'm an enjoyer of brandy because I am a 65-year-old gentleman. Now, if you will join me in the billiard room, we may talk of industry and compare the sizes of our daughters' dowries. And you know, At this point, I could do what I do in most of my videos and give you a bunch of decor ideas that will help you achieve this hygge fantasy in your apartment. A woodsy scented candle I love with notes of evergreen trees, patchouli, amber, and smoke. My favorite weighted blanket that's permanently on my lap, which means Hilo is permanently on it because she is never not on me. Warm, glowy lighting from little lamps speckled throughout my studio, all with light bulbs that can be turned on with this app, allowing me to have this beautiful moment every morning. Recommendations for throw pillows and wall art and decorative accents, all of which lend themselves to a warm, cozy look that will bring your apartment to maximum levels of hygge. Links in the description. Did I just Trojan horse a cozy hygge shopping list into what's trying to be an intelligent video essay? I guess so. It's a habit. I really do love recommending little things that can potentially improve your quality of life, even in the tiniest ways. Such things are my passion. Simple, cozy pleasures are sometimes all we have. No matter how small, they can mean the difference between a decent mood and a full-blown mental breakdown. Or if you're not as dramatic as I am, they can simply lead to a more enjoyable life. But then the question becomes, at what cost? I have to admit, I have complicated feelings about cozy living and decorating in general these days. As a decor YouTuber, do I sometimes feel like I'm just another tiny cog in the consumerist machine that's destroying everything? Yes, sometimes. It is something I struggle with. Because on one hand, I firmly believe that decorating your apartment and creating a cozy retreat for yourself is crucial. All forms of creativity are. Whether it's painting, photography, sculpting, knitting, creativity in all its forms usually involves buying things. And this is especially the case when it comes to home decor. You can't decorate your space without buying the things. And in the era of haul videos, where every video on a creator's page is unboxing item after item and you're wondering where all this stuff is even going, it's easy to start to wonder where on the spectrum do I fall between harmless creative ideas for home decor to blatant wasteful consumerism. Like I said earlier, the day man invented fire was also the day he invented coziness. But he also invented a destructive force. Has our valiant attempt for cozy homes mutated into a hollow attempt to fill a void with meaningless stuff? Is self-care just a commodity to be sold now? And is social media the culprit? Are YouTube videos the culprit? Am I the culprit? I try not to be. As we all descend into our own algorithmic abysses every day, I have to believe that there's a way to inspire creative ideas that isn't completely icky, but it's kind of an uphill battle because in a lot of ways, social media these days has become inherently icky. I mean, it's being run by a bunch of out-of-touch billionaire buffoons. So is there such thing as pure, cozy inspiration? Or is it all filtered through a kind of Zuckerbergian lens that strips away all of its meaning, all of its soul? And then even further, coziness can be deceptive. Sometimes what looks like innocent, cozy content at face value is actually a propaganda wolf in cozy sheep's clothing. You think you're getting wholesome homemaking content, then before you know it, you're in a far-right pipeline that doesn't want women to vote. Misogyny is not cozy. but tradwife content sure does make it look like it is. So can coziness be trusted anymore? Is anything in this world real? Did I blue pill myself too hard into a cozy fantasy that doesn't actually exist beyond the add to cart button? So much of coziness has become wrapped up into consumerism and content that it's easy to feel like it's not even real anymore and that the romance is lost. But the fire is still there. It can warm us, it can destroy us, and we need it to survive. I think it all comes down to our innate need for creativity. Humans are creative. We can't help it. Creativity is how we've thrived as a species. It's an evolutionary imperative. So you can't really blame us for wanting to do creative things like decorate our apartments and turn them into safe, cozy retreats for ourselves. We've been doing this since the caveman days. It started as cave paintings and now it's renter-friendly peel and stick wallpaper. Whether you're snuggled up on your couch with your cat, watching a true crime doc, scrolling Pinterest for hygge decor inspiration, or gathering apples in an adorable debt simulator game, coziness is fundamental to who we are. Yes, it comes with problems and we have to challenge them, but fire comes with problems too, and we need it to survive. So, while we work to keep the campfire tame, we might as well cozy up next to it and get warm. Let me know in the comments, what does coziness mean to you? I mean, are you as dramatic as I am about it in that I think it is a survival imperative? Dramatic enough to do an entire video essay about it? And if you want some more cozy content, I recommend you give this playlist of mine a binge. It has all the videos I've made about fantasy aesthetics, and there are some in there like hobbitcore, fairycore, dark cottagecore, really all of them to varying degrees. It's all a bunch of super cozy videos, so give these a watch next. Cheers. I did this cheers take about 5 times. Cheers, 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 cheers. And now I have a pretty good buzz going. It's like cozy in a glass.